Hello everyone, thank you for registering for this new webinar. My name is Maud and I'm a PhD student in Grenoble, like you, I think. This webinar project was launched with the doctoral college of the University of Grenoble-Alpes and the PhD Alumni network in order to promote exchange between PhD students and PhD. For this webinar, entirely in English, we will welcome Davis Montenegro-Martinez, who is honoring us with his presence this evening. Davis did his PhD in co-supervision between Grenoble and Columbia between 2012 and 2015, I think. David did his thesis in electronical engineering. He is from the EEATS Doctoral School. We will have also the presence of Aubin Gasset, who is in charge of international relationships and framework agreements for co-supervision. Hi, Aubin, and
Hi.
thank you for being with us this evening. Aubin's role will be to moderate in the exchange between the audience and Davis via the questions from you from the chat. And without further ado, I will like to welcome Davis Montenegro-Martinez, who will start by talking about something that all PhD students are concerned about, is the postdoctoral career development. Hello, Davis.
Hey,
Davis, how did you feel about this phase during the end of your thesis?
Well, this space is great. I mean, it's very nice to see all these efforts that schools around the world are doing to bring back their alumni in order to, generate this space and try to give some guidance and some tips to the people who's trying to reach a new degree. It could be undergraduate or graduate or PhD. So I think this is a great space. I love it. I love the format, the way it's being done. And yeah, I mean, again, as you mentioned, I did my PhD back then in 2012 to 2015. Was a katutel with Columbia and to obtain my PhD degree in electrical engineering. It was a great experience, not only for what I was able to learn to show as product of my work, but also as having the opportunity of sharing with other people with different cultures and nationalities. As an international student, that's very valuable. So, do you want to?
Your connection is all right? Yes.
All right.
Yeah. And can you explain just with some words your thesis, the aim of your thesis, and all the supervision between Grenoble and Columbia? What will the process and
Right. Back in the day, the name of my thesis is actor-based acoustics for the supervision, control, and simulation of electrical power systems. I know the title is quite long and says nothing, but what it means is basically what we're trying to do was to present a simple mathematical method for simulating large-scale power systems in real time. That was the initial thought. As part of the PhD program that we have in Columbia with University of Los Andes, you have to do an internship in a different part of the world. And that university has very close relationship with the University of Grenoble. So I went to Grenoble to do my internship there under the supervision of Sedik Bacha. And he liked the topic. He saw a lot of potential. So they proposed the katutel. And then, well, we just started all the paperwork. And, well, everything, that's the way it happened. So it was like a year in Grenoble. Then I had to go back to Colombia. Then I have to go back to Grenoble. So go back and forth between the two countries for during that period of time. And at the end, we did the defense of the thesis in Grenoble, which we had not only the juries, but we had also some international guests, like people from EPRI and, well, from Colombia, from different parts. It was a very nice experience. So, yep, one important part for displaying and let people know what we were doing was the promotion using not only social media, but also using open source platforms. So as the output of the thesis, the product that we can be more proud of was the first version of what nowadays is known as OpenDSSG, which is the graphical version of OpenDSS, which is the simulator, the open source simulator from EPRI. And yeah, that's what we did. Once we finished our work, we released this free version for everybody, not only to have a different point of view or a different flavor of a tool that already existed, but also to use it as a vehicle to show the international community what we were able to do. And that opened all the doors that we have nowadays, and it keeps opening doors all abroad. So it's very interesting.
I see that Aubin have already questions.
Sure.
Yes, we have Maria in the chat asking if you did a postdoc after your PhD.
No, I didn't went for a postdoc because I already had while I was doing my PhD, I was working as a lecturer already in a university in Colombia. Once I finished my PhD, I had two different job offers. I had one offer in France and had one offer in the United States. For us, it was kind of more interesting to go to the United States, not because it was better, but because it was closer to our families. So that's basically why we made that decision. So there was no time for a postdoc.
Okay. And can you explain us the opportunities you have after your defense?
Right. So as I mentioned before, while I was developing the thesis, we started publishing results of what we were doing. The most tangible result was the simulator that we generated. Back in the day, it was called DSM-PC, which was the portable version for standard computers of the real-time simulator that we developed in Grenoble. And with that, people from EPRI contact me by email. The thing is, they give support. They have the support page for a product that they have that is open source. It's called Open. And suddenly they started mentioning my name in that forum. Like, hey, we know this guy. He's like in France, but I don't know if he's a professor or if he's a student. We don't know, but the guy's doing this. And they start mentioning my name. So I was participating in that forum as well. And that opened the door for us to meet the creator of OpenDSS, which is Roger Dugan. And we met together in Chicago in 2014 in a conference in TND, IEEE. We had a little interview. We talked about what we were doing. We presented the results we have, and they thought it was interesting. So in the same year, it was that same year, in fall 2014, we met again in another conference that was in Washington, in National Harbor. And we had again another meeting with EPRI in a bigger audience. We had the vice president of the area, Mark McGranagan, and Jeff Smith, who right now is the leader of my department. And they liked the product. So the next thing they did was, why make an internship with us for the summer 2015. And I did. We went there for, well, we came here, I mean, for 2.5 months. And after that, they made a proposal. They said, hey, we want you working here. This is our proposal, etc. Then when I went back to Grenoble, after the defense, my advisor said, man, we have an offer for you as a lecturer. I said, well, sounds good, man, but I took another one already, so I'm so sorry. That's the story.
Yeah. And now you're always in the same industry.
Yeah, right. Now, it's kind of an interesting role because in EPRI, we are the Electric Power Research Institute.
Yeah.
We are a nonprofit private institution.
Okay.
And our members are basically all the big utilities around the world, mostly the United States. What we do, or our product, is intellectual property. We develop regulation, recommendations, technologies, prototypes that are not directly exploited by us, but exploited by our members.
Mm-hmm.
The goal in EPRI is to basically tell the industry what's the next step, where should we go? And in that process, you have a lot of freedom because you don't depend necessarily on a product. You depend more on an idea or a question that you're trying to answer. So yes, it was very interesting. It's similar, I will say, in the process, it's kind of similar to what you do in academia, but we're directed to a different public. So for us, it's not interesting to produce a paper that has the whole Greek alphabet for describing an equation, but more like telling the industry what's the next step and how to get there.
Okay, and do you have several positions in your job?
I couldn't get it. Could you repeat that, please?
You have several positions on your jobs. Your change. Your become
yeah, right.
or not.
Right. Depending on your role, you're going to have different responsibilities. So when I got in, I started as a scientist too.
Okay.
And that's a basic level in which you do mostly engineering. So you implement stuff, you propose stuff, but you don't have any other responsibility. At this point, I'm working as a technical leader, which goes after scientist 3. So you have to go scientist 2, scientist 3, technical leader. And at this point, I'm managing not only projects, but also people, which makes it more, it's more demanding, definitely, because you have to answer questions like, okay, so how much time do you need and how much money do you need? So you have to start learning that kind of language, start getting those kind of numbers just to plan everything, know how many people can you hire, how many people can you count on, schedule, deliverables, everything. So of course, depending on the role is going to change. So at the point I am now, the next step will be to decide if I'm going to go on management or technical. Mm-hmm. And depending on that, the responsibilities will come as well.
Yeah. Aubin has a question.
Yeah, sure. I wanted to ask, how do you think your PhD prepared you to that kind of management role?
In many aspects, in the work I do every day on EPRI, we don't have a schedule between quotes because you don't have to go to the office for a certain amount of hours every day. A goal, and you have to reach that goal. Of course, I have my own office at EPRI, or I can work at home, but you just have to reach the goal in the time is needed. They don't care if you go and spend 10 hours or 1 hour in the office. That's not important. So by directing your own research through a PhD, you learn to do that self-regulation, self-control, controlling your time, controlling your own responsibilities, managing your own time, and that's super important, especially in the job I'm doing right now. One of the things that I have to say was more important from the PhD was the ability to communicate my ideas to others. which is also super important. Many times when we are trying to communicate an idea, we can make it as complicated as we want. But if we cannot put it in a generalized language that everybody can understand, it's not possible to sell your idea. And if you can sell your idea, well, basically it's worthless. So I think those are the main aspects I can appreciate from the PhD. One is to learn to regulate and control yourself, to manage yourself, your time and your skills. And the second one will be the ability to better communicate with others, not only through papers, but also, for example, when you go to a conference, how to make this great idea that you have clear for everybody so they can see the real value on it. Sometimes, especially in academia, we've been sold the idea that making this amazing, humongous equation is what actually gives value to the idea you're trying to develop. And probably technically it is. But the real value is when we can make it understandable to everybody. How can we sell it? I remember back in the day, I used to have a class with Professor Janus in Colombia. The guy is from Poland. And he used to say, you know what, if you can sell, direct, do engineering, you're going to be fine in your profession. So it's more than just being good technically. You're going to have to be able to express, communicate, and explain all this world that you have in your head to the people out there so they can understand and share your interest for the matter that is under discussion.
Great. I let Aubin ask another question.
Sure.
Yes, Maria again is asking, what would you advise to PhD students that want to work in the industry? She says maybe to learn business and management subjects.
Well, it all depends on what you work on. I mean, business and management, I think that comes later. Once you have a position and you know what you're going to do, and you know very well how to do it, I think management is important. Because at a certain point in your career within an enterprise, you may want to have to have some management responsibilities. But again, if as a PhD you're not able to manage yourself, well, I mean, I don't think you're going to make it. That I will say that's more important than getting an MBA or another management alternative career. It all depends on what you want to do. However, what I will say, what I will recommend better will be to go out there. One of the most difficult things to be noticed is to let people know what you're doing. Some people spend all their PhD time clustered in an office trying to figure out a particular problem. But I think that's not enough. You have to go out there. You have to go to conferences. You have to talk to other people, not only to refresh your ideas, but to communicate what's going on. What are you guys doing? What are the results you're getting? If there is a question, what is that question? And that definitely adds more value, not only because you're meeting new people and creating networks, but also because you're able to let people know what you're doing, what you're working on, what's your expertise, what are your questions, and what are the solutions that you have for certain problems. That's definitely more valuable. Again, I remember the first quote that Roger Dugan made about me in the forum in OpenDSS was because he read a paper from IEEE and said, look, this guy wrote a paper and they're doing this. And I think it's valuable. Fortunately, we were able to communicate the idea correctly, or at least kind of correct in that paper. So we were able to connect with Roger, and from there, everything just went ahead.
Another question, maybe, Robin?
Yes, I will talk from my part because as an international relations officer, I would try to get your answer very listened by everybody. But I would like to know how is the katutel? How did that help with what you just said in terms of open-mindedness?
The katutel very interesting because imagine this. Normally, in a normal PhD, you have to not only satisfy your own questions, but satisfy the criteria of your advisor, what your advisor thinks about the topic you're working on, and if he sees value. Now, let's put it this way. Let's suppose you have to do that with two advisors. So trying to find common ground in between the three, believe me, it's going to be very demanding, and it's going to be very special because you're going to be able to create a greater project. How does the katutel works? Katutel is normally an agreement that you can have between two universities in different parts of the world. The idea is to work around a common topic, including all the different perspectives and ideas from both laboratories. That's the way it works. Normally, a katutel, I don't know how it works when you go to another country out of France, but in Colombia, again, was when I got to my internship, my advisor for the internship, Cedric, he told me this is a very interesting work. Would you like to start a katutel here? I said yes, and from there we just start making paperwork, and it took around a couple of weeks to start the katutel formally.
I just come back on the advice from for the PhD students in general. What do you think the PhD students have to do at the end of their thesis to go to the to a postdoc or a job in industry?
Well, again, it all depends on what you're looking for. In my case, I did lecturing for 10 years. So I was done with the thing. I mean, it was very demanding, and I felt like I had much more to give to the industry, and I wanted to go back. So my focus was on the industry. That's why also I went to EPRI instead of keep going on academia. Again, you may say, no, but my thing is academia. In that case, probably a postdoc will be a good choice because it's going to open you doors, not only in the university where you're doing the postdoc, but abroad. You never know. So it's a good opportunity, and you're going to get paid, so it's important. For going to the industry, I will say you have to look abroad and, well, in your country as well, to look for big enterprises that are looking for candidates like you, so you can apply to different positions. Also, through the networks that we have right now, for example, the one for the University of Grenoble, you have other people who's already working out there that may have an opportunity for you. So don't be shy. Just take the email, send an email. Man, hey, how are you? Look, I'm a PhD from Grenoble. I'm interested in, trying to find an opportunity there where you are. So what do you think? Believe me, absolutely nobody is not going to answer your email. Just send us an email. We say, okay, man, yeah, look, we have these opportunities. For example, at EPRI, we have an internship program, the program des stagiaires, in which we basically bring PhD and master students from all around the world to work with us for a couple of months. It's paid, and we help them with all the visa and, well, other things that may be required. And they come to our office to not only to learn what we do, but also to let us know what they do. And that's another opportunity. So internships are another alternative for trying to connect to the industry somehow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will say that's what you can do. I mean, believe me, it's not as easy now as it was 30 years ago. 30 years ago, a PhD, well, there weren't too many, but it was more difficult to connect to others. Right now, you have social media, you have virtual networks with other people around the world. So just don't be shy. Share what you know, send that email, and yeah, probably we can help you with something.
Okay, thank you. We have another question from the chat.
Yes, there's Matthias asking, could you elaborate a little bit more on the way you share the results of the research you do currently? He didn't quite get how it is different from a paper.
Right. When you write a paper, there's a lot of questions around the paper, like, is this real? When you have somebody reading the paper, the first question will be, is this guy talking serious, or we don't understand what he's talking about? What the other way I was referring to was, for example, sharing pieces of code or results or some kind of a proof telling that what you did actually works and how does it work. The software that we shared back in the day, the SMPC, that now was acquired by EPRI and it's called OpenDSSG, it was and it is right now free. So everybody around the world can go to the website at sourceforge.net and download the software for free. Try it and play with it and see that the things work. So it's a good support for whatever you write on a paper. Because every time you write a paper, you can say, look, these results were validated in this software tool, and you can redirect the reader there. So the reader can download that tool, evaluate the results and say, yes, the guy is right. So it's gonna basically push your results up high. And give more context and validate whatever you're publishing on the paper. Is software the only way to do it? There are many ways, but probably software is the easiest one. You can share things in communities like, for example, if you're a good Python programmer, right now there are a lot of communities working on Python. So why don't you just cooperate with them? Why don't you just share part of your results with them? Create a module, propagate the things that you know. I'm not saying working for free, but just demonstrating that what you're saying is true, and somehow giving to people a little bit of taste, a little try of what you're trying to promote, and that will definitely give you more relevance than just writing a paper. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, great. It's a time of questions from the audience. If you have questions, don't hesitate to write them, and Aubin will ask to Davis your questions. Maybe Davis, do you think just what skills do you develop during your thesis that you have transferred to your job today? What are the things the skills you think
are more relevant? Sure. I will say self-management, time control, time management. That's the most important one. Absolutely. That's the one I most appreciate all the time. Because again, we have no directives. I mean, we have directives, but we don't have somebody telling us that we have to be in an office for a certain amount of time and we have to deliver this for the next hour, or having your boss on your neck trying to make you move forward. For what we do here, everything is open. Everything is it's a very open environment, and well, managing that time that you have, combine it with the family. In my case, I have 2 little kids, and every time, I mean, now that I'm working from home, they come every 5 minutes. Daddy, let's go to work. Let's go to play. Daddy, let's go to play. So it's hard. It's hard to combine those, but I think you have to find a way, and that's very important. And the other one, again, and this is something I always repeat and repeat and repeat, is communication. Communicate to others, not only to present the paper on a conference, but also to communicate to your colleagues, to your superiors. In the area I am, I'm one of few guys who understand parallel processing. So whatever I say in technical terms, nobody understands what I'm talking about. So I have to find a way to sell the idea. Say, hey, why did we do this? We're gonna do it this way. This is the expected result. we're going to get, propose the whole project in a way that everybody can understand it. That will definitely make your life easier. And it's gonna how to say it in a simple way, it's gonna let you move forward, not only personally but in your career.
I don't know if we have another question from the chat, Robin.
I don't have from the chat, but I can ask one. What would you say or advise to you as a young PhD student with the background that you have right now?
Don't drink too much beer, man. It's gonna be hard. When you're 40, it's gonna feel very bad.
That's the good one. That's a good one. Thanks.
No, I will say, let's as a young student, I will say go out there, man. Go out there. I remember I had my own students back in Colombia, and one of them, I remember he sent me an email like 3 or 4 years ago. He said, "Hey, Davis, I want your advice. I got this opportunity to go and do a PhD in France, but I'm not sure I know what to do right now. I'm working here on an engineering firm. What should I do?" So my advice was, do you have your bags ready? I mean, what are you waiting for, man? Just go for it. He said, "But what about my job?" I said, "Buddy, you can find a job like that anywhere you want. But experience, like having a PhD degree on a different country, learning a different culture, learning new habits, developing your own habits by yourself, that's priceless. So just go out there. Don't be afraid. It's gonna be hard." I remember my first day in France. I thought I was able to speak French. I was wrong, very wrong. Believe me, there was a moment in which, while I was alone, and I was in Paris, and I was just thinking, man, what am I doing here? 1 minute later, I just have to slap my face and say, "Okay, man, make it work." And we did it work. So yeah, don't be afraid. It doesn't apply only for your PhD degree, but also if you have this conference in mind where you want to go and you think you have something that is valuable, go. If you want to be part of a group of developers, but probably you feel that you don't have the skills to be there, well, start proposing something. Propose something. Jump. Go there, man. Don't be afraid. Probably people is gonna be a little bit rough with you at the beginning, but hey, that happens, man. It happens in whatever domain you want. So just go there, try it, and let's see what happens. That will definitely give you a better experience that you can ever imagine.
Yes, absolutely. Aubin, I think you have another question.
Yes, I have two questions by Naila in the chat. The first one is, how can we contact journals all over the world to present our potential papers? And the second one, linked to the first, is, does the frequency of publication play a role in finding postdoc opportunities?
I will say for the first one, could you repeat the first question? Let's go with the first question, please, Obang. I'm so sorry, man.
Yes, the first one was, how can we contact journals all over the world to present our potential papers?
Right. So there are open journals everywhere, depending on the topic of your research. You just have to find out. Normally, there are very big ones that are associated, like, for example, for electrical and electronics engineering, we have IEEE, which is probably one of the biggest. And there you can find tons of journals, tons of conferences that could be of interest. For those, normally the thing is to never give up. People is very critic. And when you write a paper, the first times you're gonna be beat very bad. They're gonna rip your paper very bad and probably say things that you don't want to hear. But that's not a reason to give up. Probably you just have to read again on the comments and prepare a version of the paper that you are working on. The biggest challenge there will be then to leave your ego down and try to be objective, be realistic, and go to those reviews and try to improve your material. Many times the problem is that we don't have still the skills for do a good writing, a technical writing. Probably because sometimes, and that happens a lot, I review a lot of papers, and I can tell you, many times people take these classes for scientific writing, and they start writing like computers. It's like reading a machine. It's so not perfect, but it's so cold the way they write that it's very difficult to follow the idea. So, and that's part of creating these networks and meeting people in conferences, that you learn that kind of slang and let's say not formal language that allows you to write better papers and better material to make it more comprehensible. It's not only about connecting sentences, it's about make the reader feel comfortable with the rhythm of the comfort of the content of the paper. That will be more important. So yes, depending on the domain, you can reach those magazines. Again, for electrical and electronics engineering, I will say IEEE is one of the big ones, but you have also Elsevier, you have well many other editorial houses that will give you all a big number of options for publishing your work. But the other thing is considering the impact factor. If the impact factor is not big enough, well, you can try just to train a little bit, see how it goes, how about it comes. But once you're ready, I think you should definitely point to the ones with the highest impact factors. What was the other question about? I'm sorry.
No problem. The second one was linked to what you just said. Does the frequency of publication play a role in finding postdoc opportunities?
Absolutely. It plays a role. I remember when I was a PhD student, I used to publish at least 4 or 5 papers a year. And from those 4 or 5, one of those was on an index publication. So yes, it definitely plays a role, not only because you're sharing your content, what you're doing, your ideas, your questions and solutions, but also because it's a good training exercise for keep improving your writing, which is very, very, very hard.
Yes. Do you have another question or not?
I don't have further questions from the chat.
We just let them maybe 5 minutes if they have questions. Davis, feel free if you want to speak about some things that is very important for you for the transition between the PhD and the first job.
Sure. That brings me back to this question I got back in the day when people was asking me, how can I improve my communication skills? What can I do? And that's a problem that we have here at EPRI. At EPRI, we have people from everywhere around the world. And some of them are not very well by communicating. Some of them are not very good at presenting. And again, I've been very emphatic in this interview that communication is crucial, is vital. So at EPRI, we are part of a community called Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a club that you create inside an organization for improving your communication skills, for presenting, etc. Toastmasters, they provide material that you need. And basically what we do is we organize those meetings internally. We have a director board for the meeting that we elect by ourselves. and we conduct our own meetings. So there's nobody from outside coming in. It's everything controlled by us. And the idea is that each one of us at EPRI makes part of that club to present topics, to follow this career path inside Toastmasters, to improve our communication skills. Not only the way we speak, the way we write, but also the way we present. So we present cases like, for example, I'm pretty sure you guys are very familiar to TED Talk, the conferences they have, and we can explore different we want to enhance and improve in ourselves to be a better communicator. So I'm pretty sure worldwide you can do things like that, and that is a plus that you will appreciate for the rest of your professional career.
Okay. So Aubin, if we don't have questions, I think we can close this this webinar.
Yeah, we can. We don't have further questions.
Okay. And Davis, do you have something to add?
The same statement as always, just go for it. Don't be shy. Again, there's a lot of opportunities out there. The world's in your hand. So what are you going to do with it? Final remark, again, at EPRI, we have internship positions open the whole year. If you feel like you want to be part of it, or you find an opportunity that you want to apply for, please don't hesitate to write. My email is dmmartinez@epri.com, EPRI.com, or just go to www.epri.com. There, I'm pretty sure we can do something. And again, use these tools, these networks that are available for you, just to make contact, just to reach out to other people. And believe me, you have everything you need.
Yeah, thank you, Davis, for this opportunity. And thank you for all your valuable advice. I think it's very important for the PhD students to have your experience, your feedback from your PhD studies, and from now, what's your job actually, and your skills. And it's very interesting. And I hope this webinar will help some students that are maybe lost. And yes, don't hesitate to contact Davis for this opportunity, or for exchange with him, and maybe he have some other things to add and improve your network. I think it's the best things to know and to learn this evening. So if we don't have questions, because maybe
No, just saying that people in the chat are very happy that you shared your experience. They are very grateful, so that's very nice of you. Thank you a lot again.
Well, thank you guys again. This space is great. You guys are great. So sure, let's keep in touch.
So thank you, Davis. And otherwise, I will see you on April the 7th with Marine Boulard for the next Connect webinar. So it will be in French this time. And thank you again, Davis, to be there. And thank you, Aubin, for the questions and the chat. And I think, yes, it will be very, very interesting. So thank you.
Thanks.
And see you.
All right. See you guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.